Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to the Edge of Eternities Collector Booster Arena Direct, our chance to win a Collector Booster Box of Edge of Eternities. We are 9 wins and 8 losses right now, so a very, very average run so far. Hopefully on this run, in our best of 1 sealed, trying to get that Collector Box, we can at least go better than 1 and 2 to keep that win rate positive at worst. But obviously, if we do really well and get a 7-win run, getting a collector box of Edge of Eternities would be pretty awesome as well. So here we are for attempt number 5. So what do we have here from our rares? Some of these cards I've never seen before, like Loading Zone. If one or more counters would be put on a creature, spacecraft, or planet you control, twice that many instead. So a very narrow kind of doubling season. It's interesting, but probably not good in sealed because you're not going to get a ton of synergies for it. Same with weapons manufacturing. That's not really going to work, but we've got a couple good green-white rares. We have Diadrine, which can be a really big trampler and has great synergy with +1/+1 counter nonsense. And the Frigate is also pretty good at buffing your whole board and becoming a big flying lifelinker later. As far as I remember, Alpha Rail's pretty bad. Yeah, that's pretty awful. 5 mana for a 3/3 is a super bad stat line. The ward's kind of irrelevant if it's only going to be a 3/3 body. Almost any creature can just trade into it, or at worst, a double block with a couple 2/2s. You can probably make your opponent lose half their life one time, but that's still pretty bad for 5 mana and waiting until you attack with it the next turn, and only if you trigger Void. Yeah, Alpha Rail does not seem good. Pain for All is decent removals, that's fine. And then Burgeoning is interesting. Probably not the best in 1v1 sealed. This is obviously pretty great in Commander when you have a whole ton of opponents and you can play a bunch of really good card draw spells, good card advantage plays that make sure you always have extra lands in your hand. The problem with Burgeoning in just a regular draft or sealed event is that, sure, it is very good in your opening hand. If you go turn 1, Forest, Burgeoning, go, I get to dump all of my initial hands immediately, or my initial lands immediately, but it doesn't help you draw any more lands from your hand. So let's say you draw this on turn 3 in an average hand that has 3 or 4 lands. It's not gonna do anything because you've already played all the lands that you've drawn. Maybe it'll play 1 extra land out of your hand. In the end, you end up down a card because you've played this and it hasn't actually added any cards to what you're doing. It's just made you play your lands a little faster. It's probably not worth the explosive, oh, I have Burgeoning turn 1 and a 4-land opener value for just how bad it is as a top deck in the late game, or even how bad it is as a turn 3 or 4 play. I don't think Burgeoning is actually going to be good here in Sealed, which is a little sad because it's a really cool card. Let's see what we've got for our colorless, multicolored here. See what fixing we have. We have no dual lands because those are only at rare or better. So rare or from the bonus sheet, which are even rarer than regular rares. We have 1 command bridge and no colorless fixing either, so that's pretty bad. What about landers? 2 lander tokens. Technically litho breaking, but 3 mana instant make 1 lander is very bad. And the 2 different lander token cards are green, blue, and then red. So we'd have to play 3 colors just to get all the lander production. There is 1 gene pollinator out of green for fixing as well, but that is a very low amount of mana fixing for sure. So let's just take a look at all of our colors individually and pick the best 2, slap them together. Tends to be how this sealed format has played for me, because I've personally opened a pretty low amount of lander tokens the majority of the time. So our white looks very powerful. We have 2 Banishing Lights for some pretty great removal spells. We have the Starfield Shepherd, a very good value play with 2 different 1-mana creatures to pick up with it. A couple Night Luminaries are really flexible cards. If you have no other 2-drop, then you are putting something on the board, and you get 3 creatures off of this card throughout the game, which is really nice. Of course, we have the Frigate for one of our great rares, and then some decent filler creatures throughout the curve outside of that. White looks like a very solid color. As for the blue, we've got some cool stuff going on here. These Steel Storm operators look pretty awful. There are only two, I guess 3 other artifacts, so it's pretty much a 2-mana 1/1, which is pretty bad. But we have a couple Lost in Spaces and a Cryo Shatter for blue's sort of removal spells. We also have the Scientist, which can get a lot of mana cost reductions throughout the game. Lets you dump your hand really quick. These Mechan Navigators are really nice, especially with some vehicles. Not vehicles, but spacecraft to station with them. So if we played like blue-white, we'd have the Wedge Light Rammer and the Frigate. And they're fine by themselves. I like the Gale Blade by itself, the Cryogen Relic by itself. Yeah, blue looks like another very reasonable color, although I will say I think white is certainly a bit better than the blue. Next up we have black, where we have Grav Kill, Triple Depressurize, and Dubious Delicacy. So black gives us excellent removal, but then the creatures are pretty bad. So there's Hole Carver, Umbral Caller Zealot. Those are fantastic, but then mediocre filler with a couple Skittermaws and then an Evangel with only a couple sacrifice cards. And then Void Forge Titan can be good. It can be a whole card draw engine, but Alpha Real looks pretty bad to me as well. So there's like 4 pretty mediocre filler creatures, and then 3 pretty solid ones. The amount of great removal we have here, though, could make the color worth playing regardless. Like, what would black-white look like? Yeah, cut 4 cards here, go black-white. Yeah, black actually. The amount of excellent removal we have here could really sell me on the color, because the quality there is incredibly high. Gives us another 1-drop as well if we go black-white specifically. Now in red, a lot of cards here, high quantity of cards, but how's the quality? 2 removal spells, Invasive Maneuvers and Pain for All, and 1 potential wipe effect with Lithobreaking. A couple Mock Sight for card draw. Actuator looks bad here. Mechan's pretty bad in general. I mean, it's a bunch of filler, basically. Like, if we needed a support color that's average, then red is there, but I think our blue and our black are just slightly above average support colors, so I'd rather play one of those. And last but not least, we have green, where we do have a couple removal spells with Diplomatic Relations, couple somewhat chunky creatures to ramp into, and the tiniest bit of ramp in the world with a Gene Pollinator. I'm not the biggest fan of our green by itself. It's close to how good our blue and our black are, so the reason I could see to play green here would be towards the Biomechan Engineer green-blue deck. So maybe we could go for full Bant here, getting a Lander token from Engineer, getting Fixing from Gene Pollinator, and then playing more blue to get the Engineer in here, and a splash of white towards Diadrine, and a couple Banishing Lights. I think Bant could be reasonable. The mana base would be rough in terms of trying to play like a bunch of cards of each of these colors instead of just like a light splash towards the white or a light splash towards the blue. Honestly, Engineer's probably still a pretty good play, even if I don't have the mana for it till like turn 4. So that could be something as well. Yeah, I think we're playing around in the Bant color trio somewhere. Both of our colorless cards are quite mediocre. Just not play those. This gives us a grand total of 3 pieces of fixing playing these colors. 1 Engineer, 1 Pollinator, 1 Command Bridge. Which I'm still not confident is worth the 3-color build. Blue and white has the best mana curve by a lot, based on what we're looking at here. What if we do something real weird? What if we do this? Just a single Command Bridge and a Dream for this Diadrine. We've got 7 non-creature spells here. I think we cut 3 creatures then. Okay, I guess There's actually 9 because the spacecraft are shown up in the creature curve. So this is 9 non-creature spells. Although this comes with a creature, it's reasonable to count that there. Should probably cut 2 creatures and 1 non-creature though. I don't love Ilvoy Operative, but I still, for mana curve purposes, I think want to keep the 4/2s. Got some 3s here. I love Scionist, and just the 3/3 body's been decent for us lately. Nanoform Sentinel has cute combos with Spacecraft. We only have the 2, but that could still be fun. I do think I like that better than Zealot. Artifact count is currently at 10. This could consistently be a 2/4 flyer for 3, which is also quite reasonable. I think I'm going to cut 2 of these random 3 drops, and then 1 non-creature spell. Still 2 Banishing Light, Cryo Shatter if I cut a Lost in Space. I really like all of our non-creature spells. That's the issue with cutting one of those. With no lander tokens and a single command bridge, I could also just give up on Diadrine. That's the last cut. Go for a more consistent just 2-color deck here, which also seems perfectly reasonable. We've got a really good curve by sealed standards for just jamming in. We have 4 different ways to get their big blocker out of the way in the late game. Try to get those last few points of damage in. Yeah, sure, we'll drop Command Bridge. Drop the Diadrine. And then just 2 of these. I feel pretty good at double spelling. We'll play the Zealot. And how many flyers do I have without this Technician? 1 Galeblade, 1 Frigate. Wedgelight Rammer, a Whale, a Shepherd. I'm pretty good on flyers. I'll cut the Technician and try out the Sentinel combos. Go for 16 lands. Because I can warp that for 2, I can warp that for 2, and it picks up a land when I do. This draws me a card for 1 mana, this draws me a card for 2, cycles into the next land. These warp for 2. This reduces costs. I think this is a 16 land. Very aggressive deck here. We'll go 8-8 split, 50-50 it, because our white and blue are pretty close. 13 white, 11 blue. Yeah, looks very reasonable to me. Just a nice, consistent, pretty low curve deck here. Got our 1 rare, our Lumen class Frigate, to be pretty good. I don't mind this at all. Take a look at everything that we're not running here. Bunch of good black removal that we're missing out on. Red's just a very standard color. Green also pretty standard, pretty average. It just gives us the access to the Diadrine. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with this build. I think we will call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, see how far this one takes us. Here we are for game number 1. We're on the draw. Opponent takes a mulligan, starts with a mountain. Galeblade. A little sad to draw that on turn 2, because it's a good 1-drop, but it'll help us double spell with the Zealot, get some extra damage in pretty easily. So let's run out the Zealot here, I feel. We are navigating hit land 4, which we're definitely interested in with the Luminary. Good grief, what do I ditch here? Cryogen Relic? Sounds crazy, but I feel like this has all the tools it needs to push tons of damage without playing any card draw for a long time. Systems override the navigator. They're going to do some digging here. Looking for mana or something, I guess. Oh, wow. They have a bold mana base. They got a double black Zoophyte. Yeah, they were really looking for mana. Because they drew and discard and played 0 lands for the turn. Double spell, buff the whole board, station this thing really well. I actually did the stationing of the frigate in the wrong order there. I definitely should have used the 1/1. Oh wait, no, it needs to be 2+. I did that in the right order. If it was like station for only 1 to give +1/+1, then I could station with the 1/1 and then the 3/2 as a 4/3. I guess either way, the second one buffs for just 1 more. Disregard. I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know this board state is very bad for our opponent. Alright, there's a concession from our opponent, and with our first victory, we guarantee we've locked in at least a 50-50 record or better throughout the Arena Direct runs so far. Alright, game number 2 on the play. A reasonable opening hand here. Definitely looking for some better threats for the future. Start with that Slag Drill Scrapper, which is why I went for the island first. I'm more likely to actually get damage in with the flyer if I want, but probably just play the frigate here. Yeah. Station 1 makes it so next turn I can play security, finish the stationing to where now Galeblade hits for 2 in the sky. One I have to Banishing Light, just a Tenderfoot. So I will just play security for now, but with the second Banishing Light drawn, I don't think it would be the wildest play to banish the Tenderfoot. I just think they're man into that, sure. Take 4. Give me any creature. Let's go. Nanoform Sentinel is quite the creature. Becomes tapped, untap another target permanent, period. Okay. This is station 12. This will be 4 power. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus the 2. We can fully station here then. Get exactly 12. With an untap on security. And then they have to outrace the lifelinker. Very nice Nanoform Sentinel. That was one of the last filler additions to this deck, and in this one game, I feel like it's kind of earned its slot here. Jam in and untap the lifelinking blocker. Sounds pretty reasonable. I think I'm hitting Tenderfoot because that could get bigger. I think the trample is tremendously relevant. I could untap a land and cast another Banishing Light, but this way they need removal or a combat trick to get through the frigate. They have a Debris Field Crusher for 3 damage to any target. Choose the Galeblade, I'll draw my card then. Find a Wedgelight Rammer. They're taking 4 in the sky. Any way to lethal them? Yes, 1 removal spell will do it. Just attack all. That hits for a minimum of 5 damage. And there's a concession from our opponent for 2-0, at least a 50-50 record on this run, and a positive one throughout the Arena Directs thus far. Here we are now for game number 3 on the draw again. We were on the draw, then on the play, then on the draw here. As far as I remember. Definite keep here. Mono white so far from our opponent. They start with the Worm Wall Sweeper to surveil 2. Set up their draws, look for their second color maybe. Okay, keep them both on top. Let's start with the Ilvoy Operative. Just play 2 creatures that want a double spell. Nice and early here. Then turn 4 I can go Drone plus Relic for the double spell and trigger both of them. If they play any creature here, we probably get to attack in because they are likely to station the Sweeper. Get it halfway towards becoming a creature. So they are black-white. They found their second color off of the Surveil. Umbral Caller Zealot. That gets 3/4 of the way stationed on the Sweeper. I would be very surprised to see them hold that up as a blocker, considering the trade would be pretty bad for them. Okay. Well, I will offer the trade. The Operative would need 3 +1/+1 counters before it attacks past the Zealot without dying anyway. And the Zealot has great abilities, so I am very fine with that. Saving the Cryo Shatter for something much bigger than a 3/2, obviously. Lightsmith. That card has excellent abilities, even if I Cryo Shatter it. Which is awkward. Very awkward. So if I Cryo Shatter it, it's going to sit there and still draw them a card off of every double spell. So I think I'm going to Relic and see what I draw, but I might stun it with the Lightsmith. Another land. Yeah, if I Cryo Shatter it here, I hit for 2 more damage this turn and I stop it from, like, stationing the Sweeper. But if I Relic, sure, I hit for 2 less damage, but I still stop it from stationing the Sweeper next turn. Either way, it still gets to trigger and draw them cards. I think I Relic it here and just dig for a Banishing Light or Lost in Space or something. That is none of those. Yeah, Lightsmith is a huge, huge problem here. If we don't find a way to get it off the table, it can easily win our opponent the game through card advantage. And our digging has not got us there so far. Play their land for turn. So they've got 5 mana out. That makes it a lot easier. Cast 2 spells in 1 turn. There's Exosuit Savior. Pick up the Sweeper, recast it to double spell and draw an additional card. And that's pretty gnarly. Good work from Sunstar Lightsmith here. Station the Sweeper since they can't block well anyway. And unfortunately, Banishing Light is fashionably late, exactly 1 turn. Too late to have been excellent here. But still good, still have to deal with that ASAP. Finish stationing the Sweeper, potentially. They're looking between their Sweeper and their Savior. If they're going to play any summoning sick creature that they don't want to block with, then that's just a free station on the Sweeper instead. It's like auxiliary boosters here. That is a 3/4. They might want to block with it, though. Yeah, they're just going to hold that up. Send the Sweeper in. Happy to be racing here. We are currently winning the race quite a lot. Another Starport Security. So Cryo Shatter plus play a Security to double spell and save the other one for later. And the security can finish off a Cryo Shattered card if they don't chump here. Alright, they're just going to chump here, fair enough. I don't think it'd be crazy to just play the next security so I can just tap 2 creatures. Get rid of our Summoning Sickness. Because double spelling is only just giving us an extra +2/+0. That's all it's doing. Sure, I'll play the security. I think the actual biggest argument against playing security is the fact that the set does have like 6 or 7 board wipes at rare. But as it comes to like just impacting the board, if there is no board wipe coming, it's actually better to just have a non-summoning 6 starport security out next turn than it is to have a 2 power higher zealot next turn, I think. Because we can activate their abilities for 2 mana apiece. There's Wedgelight Rammer. Definitely have drawn more than enough lands to just double security and jam here. Question is if I want to. I need 9 power station on the Rammer. I get 2 power off of the robot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do not get it fully stationed immediately regardless. So sure. We'll go double tap and station it for 4 here. Actually can't double tap. I'm 1 mana off from the double tap, which is moderately awkward. So I'll just move a Dockworker drone counter over to a starport security. It feels worth it with double starport security on the board to reduce their number of creatures by 1. If we can. They do have all their mana ups. They could also just have like a Focus Fire or something. Put on the tapped security here. That way, theoretically, they're not like also stopping us from using its ability in some weird scenario where they do throw removal at it there. Although we weren't particularly likely to use its ability because now I'm just playing a Wedgelight Rammer. I'm just going to shoot the Zealot here. And station with the Zealot first. They have the 3 and a white, destroy a tapped creature or an artifact. Feel their best target's probably Wedgelight Rammer, but I suppose they could kill Bright Spear Zealot. They have Grav Kill where they can kill literally anything they want, and they choose the starport security. That is surprising to me, but fine. Next turn, the Rammer can be fully stationed off of the Zealot and the 2/2, and then I can still have the starport security's ability ready to go untapped. They've got 3 cards left in their hand here. They are 2 removal heavy colors, being in black and white. No green or blue over there, which are the lighter colors when it comes to removal. Only played 1 removal spell so far. Send in the Exosuit Savior. We're down to 16. They pass through holding all their mana up. So they are probably going to blow up the Rammer here. Let's see. Indeed, there's the Grav Kill. But that means Wedgelight Rammer put in some good work for us because we still get to keep the 2/2 token it made, so we're up a 2/2 in that exchange. Did lose some tempo for sure by tapping a bunch of stuff towards stationing it, but gained some card advantage, which we are going to need because I think we are drawing a few more lands than our opponent right now. No, we might be the same. Dirgecraft. That is exceptional here. I think I need to ditch sell it over security. It's an honor to make security's ability even cheaper. Pretty sick. Tap that in the upkeep so they can't station with it. If they play anything else this turn, I can't tap it before they have the ability to station, I believe. Because they have first priority once they put it on the board. Once their creature resolves, they have priority to be like, okay, I'm going to activate the station now. Before I have the priority to tap the creature. If we see them equip boosters to Savior, this could absolutely be a scenario where we're both flooded. Yeah? It's a decent sign for us. And they pass. We're gonna need them to keep flooding here, that's for sure. They could have removal for the robot now. Maybe not. Maybe they're gonna kill the starport security instead. If they do that, we went off of top deck removal. Alright, we went off top deck removal. Oh, forgot my stop on their upkeep remains, even if my starport security does not. So we could hit Banishing Light or Lost in Space for instant lethal. We have 3, because we have 2 Banishing Light, 1 Lost in Space, but we are the Flood Master this game. So we pass through. It's so bad for us. That's 3 more blockers, because 2 1/1s and they can... I guess 2 more blockers. They have 2 1/1s and they could sack the Night Captain to get a second auxiliary boosters. If their sealed pool had really good synergy for this card where they have the double equipment for it. But the worst case scenario being 2 more blockers so that they're really not dead is pretty brutal. We are losing this top deck war pretty bad. Now our best draws are our flyers, particularly the Starbreach Whale. For the biggest flyer, but even that is not great because the Dirgecraft is gonna get stationed quick here. Okay, they're not literally dead to us top decking removal, we just put them to 1, but it's a little bold. I think we hit too many lands here. I'm stating the obvious a little bit, but what I mean to say is I don't think even if I start hitting gas now that it's gonna be enough. That was a really devastating land clump. Trying to think what we have left in the deck. I don't think our perfect draws can even get there now after that much. That many turns of casting nothing in a row. Yeah, no, there's no shot. We're just dead on board. They get too aggressive here and don't have another creature. We still have a tiny, tiny chance. I get to draw 2 spells for next turn, one off of the Galeblade Chump and the other for the draw step. And if any of those are removal or add extra damage, that will be massive. If I had 1 more life, I could kill them for doing that, but I don't have enough life. I have to chump somebody there. Oh, that's such a shame. These would have absolutely done it if we found these during the land clump, but they're too late now. We're very dead in the sky. No way to add to the damage output. This game. Devastating draws in the end there. That is 2-1 heading into game 4. Here we are for game 4. All removal, all defense with this hand, but we've got the draw 2. Some surveil as well. We can play the controlling role with this hand until we draw into our threats, or just play a big whale, I suppose. Alright, our opponent looks like they're also on a slower start here, just setting up their mana for now, which has me a little scared, because that likely means when we see Command Bridge that they are splashing around and playing maybe a slower, more late-game oriented deck in general. It's where they can punish us for not having a very aggressive start by having a much bigger end game. I am perfectly happy to give them 1 more draw to save Banishing Light for something with a good ability here. As we've seen in the past, the risk of Cryo Shatter when our opponent could have something like the 3/3 that draws a card whenever they double spell, where it is really bad in that scenario. So I'll save the Banishing Light in case something like that comes out. I'll just blow up the Cryo Shatter, fair enough. It's actually pretty good value for them that it makes a lander token for them too. Yeah, that was a very solid turn for our opponent. Now they just get to crack that. I think I want to just play the maximum stats to the board that I can here, which means I am giving up on a little bit of extra Starfield Shepherd value, potentially. I guess what I could do here is play the Starbreach Whale next turn. Hold off on the Shepherd. Like, I don't really mind if I only surveil 2 off of this once, but I have enough good 1-mana creatures that I really do want to both warp the Shepherd and hardcast it. But in order to just be playing more threats to the board each turn, I kind of do want to play a good threat, so Whale next turn. And then after that, hopefully they played something good to where I go Warp Shepherd, play Banishing Light, and play the 1-drop the Shepherd picks up. Could be a really good turn 6. Hedge Rover. Reach. Okay, there's a Wedgelight Rammer as the draw. Can honor up a 1/1 and I have a blocker for the 4/2. Trade there. I can play the Wedgelight Rammer as well. Then I have a blocker for the 2/2. And we're chilling, we're vibing, we're fine. Can also just hardcast a 3/5. I'm technically fine if I do that, but 1 removal spell shatters that. I think I'd rather have the wide board here. And I get to do some digging and see what else we have access to, like a Night Luminary. Bunch of warp cards to go with the Wedgelight Rammer. That could make that get stationed really quickly, which I'm a big fan of. Probably could have stationed Rammer with one of these 2/2s as well. The trade into the 4/2 is great. The trade into the Edge Rover is a little more questionable. If our opponent's running Command Bridge, they're likely to get more value off the Lander token than us, especially because we're unlikely to crack it next turn. But it looks like it plays out fine. Okay, this isn't main phase 2 yet. This is still combat. They might attack both. Okay, they do attack both. I was like, the amount of thinking they're doing and debating maybe not attacking with Edge Rover means that it might be fine for us. Okay, so I need 8 total power to finish stationing the Rammer. Next turn, Starfield Shepherd could pick up a Plains so that I have 6 mana so I can warp all 3 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fully station the Rammer. So do this, have the Rammer up on those. I don't need this power to station the Rammer. Yeah, this is fine. Just buy time towards the long game now that they're down to 1 card in hand. But we have tons more to play. Especially considering there's a Cryogen Relic for another draw as well. I think we actually are coming ahead in the long game here. And now I can even Shepherd into a 1-drop, which means even more spells to play in the long run. I can pick up both of these over time. The one that I pick up now doesn't matter so much because I'm not even casting it this turn. Now that we've tutored, we will Surveil. Keep a drone, mill a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little bit overkill amounts of stationing, but you get the gist. See if they've got more removal here. They've only played the 2, Dubious Delicacy and Siege Ship Impact. Tenderfoot, pretty scary. If they're out of stuff to do, they just keep juicing that up till it is way bigger than we can deal with. But they're out. They're out of cards here. So Rammer remains, and the only threat they have is Tenderfoot, basically, until they deal with our Rammer. Which buys us the time that we need to play all of these cards out. Don't need to Banishing Light Tenderfoot immediately. Let's keep playing on the board here. Come on out, Shepherd. Shepherd for Skystinger, Galeblade for Monoist. We're still out on board. Could start attacking now. Does still feel a little unnecessary. Because those trades are not the greatest. Mecha Navigator is very nice with a spacecraft on the board. think now banishing the Tenderfoot, I am in the spot to start poking here. Actually gonna crack the Lander token. I could use more mana. I have 9, 10, 12, 13 mana worth of spells to play still. Another 2 mana ability. Sort of an embarrassment of riches this game. Polar opposite of the last game. Not the polar opposite. Polar opposite would be us just not drawing enough lands to play spells and losing for it. But certainly really good luck in not drawing that many lands this game. Versus the bad luck of not having a lot of spells in the one before this. Okay, they do have another impact on that. Fair enough. It's kind of rough. Now the Navigator doesn't get to dig through any extra lands from here. Like Starbreach Whale then, that'll be our big flyer that we can start beating in with. Though attacking to the Sky Stinger here with the Shepherd is fine too. They're down to 1 card in hand, so the trade, even if it is a trade slightly downward in stats, is very manageable when we're so far ahead in cards. And then if they take that trade, their only blocker is gone, because I can stun the Monoist this turn. Find Banishing Light. Excellent draw. We'll stun the Monoist. Keep them on 1 blocker here. Could exile the 1 blocker and jam for a bajillion next turn. Keep this land in hand for Virus Beetles and Mech and Navigators. Killvoy Operative, sure. Now I'll double spell every turn. Now that it has a counter, Starport Security is active. Yeah, so I get to Banishing Light the Sky Stinger, and then after they untap, I can Starport Security and Monoist, so they have no flying blockers the turn after that. Could even just tap all their blockers. Very nice stuff from the deck. We are now 3-1 for a very positive record, no matter what. Here we are for game number 5 against the Nintendo Entertainment System. This should be a pretty difficult one, as it's one of the greatest of all time right there. We got the Mech and Navigator and Wedgelight Ramber combo to get out of any mana flood here. And if they don't have a good blocker for Navigator early, I could even just attack with it and start digging through these lands. No blocker yet. Let's just send the Navigator in before I do anything else. Get my trigger, ditch land number 6. I can go security. Honor up the security. Dockworker Drone is the draw there. There's the Cryo Shatter on security. Awkward. Ooh, Frigate is pretty sweet. Skip out on the Rammer for now. Just get that buff going. Sure. My biggest fear right now is the board wipe that can also kill spacecraft. But I feel like I'm in such a good aggressive position to just push damage here. I can't really afford to play around it. When I can try to just end this game really quick before they establish anything to block. Six power out. That gets this to 8. I can't Fully station the frigate. I could fully just play the rammer and then fully station that. No attacks this turn. But I want to attack with the dockworker drone. So just play the rammer. Get it close to complete. And send in the 3, I think, is the line. Might have been worth keeping the island and playing Galeblade there, but I do love Navigator with these. So I'll keep the next one. They're down to 12. One of the best, 2 of the best mythics in the whole set in a row. Three there. Need 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jam in the sky. Jam in the sky is a plan. I have 1 tap from security if they play a flyer. Okay. In order to win, they had to double mythic and then also rare board wipe here. Okay. They don't have rare board wipe. Let's go. Unless there's some insane 1 blue mana spell. That was a super insanely fast curve out from our deck. Really, really good stuff from it there, but they played some really, really threatening cards. They are lucky, or we're lucky that the way that these order is that this is still on the stack when that resolves, so then we got 2 1-1s instead of 4, but I guess it still didn't matter because we drew both of our great flying spacecraft. So even if they had 4 1-1s off of that Wombo combo. Wow. Scary stuff from our opponent, but incredibly scary stuff from us. We just leave that whole game unscathed, just completely bashed through. Really, really great stuff from our deck so far. We're 4-2, winning at least twice as many games as we've lost here, and close to the break-even point here. 7,200 gems and 16 packs as the minimum prize out for today. Here we are on the play for game number 6. 4-1 right now. We're getting into the big money stuff. The really important games. Every additional win is adding a bajillion gems to the stack. Really needed to naturally draw a land there for the Banishing Light. On that Intimidator. I was not expecting to have to Banishing Light on turn 3. Oh my god. Banishing Light that Bomb Rare instead. That would be a 4/5 flyer next turn that spits out another creature each turn. Varian's a pretty mythic uncommon, super good stuff. Banishing Light that as well. Kind of feels like it. Which means Intimidator just straight up 2 mana 4/3 this game. I think this hand's really good at double spelling. But it's all 2 mana plays. If need be. So our 2-drop Operative can trade in their 2-drop Intimidator. Although we will have taken a chunk of damage from it first. Oof. The Nova Hellkite and kill our creature. Alright. Get pretty massively bombed out by that one. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I think Nova Hellkite just means it's genuinely over. We die to 1 removal spell here no matter how we play. They blow up one of our creatures and they recast Hellkite and kill the 1/1 if I do that instead. Alright, you got me. That was incredible stuff from our opponent. We even had a backup Raging Ravine. That's what you call card quality over there, and a bajillionth removal spell. Quick loss there. Absolutely nothing we could do there, really. No counterplay to that. That's just how the cookie crumbles, how the cards line up for us. That is going to be 4-2 for today's run. Really happy with the deck that we built, and I think I played pretty well throughout the games. So I don't think we could have done much better. Certainly those 2 losses were kind of set in stone there, particularly the final loss. Just our deck, our draws did not line up well against their excellent draws to start off that game. And our first loss, we got flooded really bad, but we did technically get them down to 1 life, so there is a slight chance that we missed a single point of damage somewhere earlier throughout that game. So 1 loss we might have been able to change, but still got quite unlucky to lose that game. And yeah, second loss, like, our deck didn't really do anything particularly wrong. They just had a really, really excellent opener there. Suppose we could have given them the Lander tokens instead. That would have bought us a little bit more time. Giving them the Lander tokens always worse in the long run, better in the early run. I figured in the hand with the Banishing Light it was better to just give them the 4/3 and banish it. But we did miss the land drop towards that. Maybe we could have started with Shepherd so that I knew for sure that I had Banishing Light turn 3. The issue with that is, like, when I chose to play Shepherd, they didn't have a 4/3 on board yet. When I chose to play Mech and Navigator, it was an empty board, so we had no information to go on whether or not I would need to Banishing Light a 2-drop, which is a very rare scenario. I think I played that out fine. I just don't think there's much we could have done there. If I was completely omnipotent and knew the future of that game, I certainly would have given them the Lander tokens, because they hit every single land drop naturally. And then that would have been a little bit less damage. That would have bought us another turn or 2. But again, we saw how overkill their hand was there. They played extra removal spells they didn't even need to play, just to show how strong the hand was by the end. So I'm pretty sure we lose regardless. Either way, very solid run here. We won twice as many games that we lost, which is pretty difficult in these super high stakes, super competitive events. But this was quite a solid sealed pool for us. Great interaction, great cheap curve, and that really helped us out there. Just the 1 great rare, but it was absolutely fantastic, so no complaints there. Yeah, liked this deck a lot. Very happy with this build. Just was not quite enough to get towards that collector box, but it does give us more than enough gems to continue our attempts here. That is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to fellow YouTube algorithm, send some more in the recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.